You can even do it that loud.
If you're gonna do it. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6, adequate notification of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Record and the Herald News, posting notice in the Board of Education Administration Building, and filing notice with the city clerk. To ensure accessibility, interpreter services are available upon request. Please submit your written request at least 24 hours prior to the board meeting to the school business administrator, Dr. Stephen Lewis, at stephenlewis@hackensackschools.org. I hereby call to order the reorganization meeting on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026 in Hackensack High School Media Center at 6:16 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, we would like to have a moment of silence for a past trustee member, Clarissa Gilliam, who was a trustee from 2010 to 2013. Thank you very much. We're going to give the floor to our wonderful students of Hackensack High School Chorus to sing the alma mater.
Oh, Hackensack, dear alma mater, for thee we raise our golden blue and strive to lift thy banner higher in each and everything we do. And when we bring up to thy altar trophies from football field and track, we'll mingle many hearts and voices in praise of Hackensack.
Thank you again to the high school chorus. Give them another round of applause. At this time, I will read the results of the Hackensack School Board election for a 3-year term. Candidate Demetrius Carroll, 5,774 votes. Candidate Melanie Alston Balaputra, 5,503 votes. Candidate Michael Jones, 5,351 votes. Candidate Alan Simmons II, 1,780 votes. Congratulations to Board of Trustee member Carroll, Board of Trustee member Alston Balaputra, Board of Trustee member Mr. Jones.
Hey.
Congratulations. At this time, we'll administer the oath of office to the newly elected board members. First, Board of Trustee member Demetrius Carroll. Oath will be administered by the Chief of Police, Michael Antista.
I, Demetrius Carroll. Do solemnly swear. that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I'll support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
I will faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States and this state
in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I, Demetrius Carroll,
I, Demetrius Carroll,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications
that I possess the qualifications
prescribed by law for the office of Member of Board of Education,
prescribed by law for the office of Member of Board of Education,
that I am not disqualified
that I am not disqualified
as a voter pursuant
as a voter pursuant
to RS 19:4-1,
to RS 19:4-1,
nor disqualified due to conviction
nor disqualified due to conviction
of a crime or offense listed in NJS
at a crime or offense listed in NJS
18A:12-1,
18A:12-1,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties
and justly perform all the duties
of that office according to the best of my ability.
in that office to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
At this time, we'll administer the oath of office to Board of Trustee member Melanie Alston Balaputra. The oath will be administered by Hackensack Municipal Judge Karen Gwynn. In her stay, Chief of Police Michael Antista will be in her stay. It will be my pleasure. Yep.
Yes.
Ah, there we go.
There you go.
Another local judge.
Thank you.
And yes, I am Mike's double.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we're gonna do this again. All right. We are administering the oath of office for Board of Trustee member Melanie Alston Balaputra. The oath will be administered by Hasbrook Heights Municipal Court Judge Joseph Jones.
Can you please raise your right hand, put your left hand in the Bible, thank you, and repeat after me. I, Melanie Alston Balaputra,
I, Melanie Alston Balaputra,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Okay, one more paragraph. I, Melanie Alston Balaputra,
I, Melanie Alston Balaputra,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of member of a Board of Education,
for the office of member of a Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified as a voter
and that I am not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime
nor disqualified due to the conviction of a crime
or offense listed in NJS
or offense listed in NJS
18A:12-1,
18A:12-1,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of that office
all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Fine. Larry, fine. Mike, am I hitting page twice?
By the Hackensack Brewery.
Yeah. Mel says she was picking it up.
You guys need to retype this because it has the judge's signature. You want me to cross it off? Okay. Just don't tell her I did that.
Good job, good job, good job.
Sorry, we gotta write the whole thing down. Okay. there you
Thank you, sir.
go. How many copies we want? We're doing all of them?
We'll make copies.
Okay, so I don't have to do, there's multiple, oh, Demetrius is yours, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go sit back down, and then you can call me back.
All right. At this time, we'll administer the oath of office to Board of Trustee member Michael Jones. The oath will be administered by Hasbrook Heights Municipal Court Judge Joseph Jones.
Got a whole gang with me too, should they come over?
They can come on up.
So real quick, I was on the board of ed in Hasbrook Heights. I warned Michael not to. And like most little brothers, when the big brothers give advice, he ignores it. Here he is. No, in all actuality, it's actually very rewarding, amazing experience. And I'm really, really happy to see that. So, you guys have.
Watch your step.
Left, right hand in the air, left hand in the bottom. All right. Repeat after me. I, Michael Jones, do solemnly swear
I, Michael Jones, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to same
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I, Michael Jones, do also solemnly swear
I, Michael Jones, do also solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education,
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law as a member of the Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified as a voter
that I'm not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
pursuant to RS 19:4-1,
nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime
nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime
or offense listed in NJS 18A:12-1,
or offense listed in NJ 18A-12-1. There was a colon in there, 18A:12-1.
I covered it up, it's my fault. And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of that office
perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. Good job. You did good about that.
Yo, you gotta sign it. Okay, so I swear everybody's done.
Nice. Now, hang on for a little bit.
Thank you. Board members, you can now turn your nameplate right side up.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yes, official.
I will now do the roll call for the newly positioned board for the 2026 year. Trustee Alston Balaputra.
Present.
Trustee Amr Hamza.
Present.
Trustee Carroll.
Present.
Trustee Gilmore.
Here.
Trustee Harris.
Harris, presente.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Jones, presente.
Trustee Martin.
Martin,
Trustee Pringle.
Present.
Trustee Stein.
Present.
We have quorum. I will now entertain nominations for the office of President of the Hackensack Board of Education for the calendar year of 2026. Do I have any nominations?
I would like to nominate trustee Jennifer Harris.
I'll second.
For trustee Harris, I have a first by trustee Pringle. I have a second by trustee Gilmore. Are there any other nominations? In the absence of further nominations, I close this nomination and I will call to votes for the election of trustee Jennifer Harris for board president of the Hackensack Board of Education for the calendar year 2026. Trustee Austin Balaputra.
Yes.
Trustee Amr Hamza.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee Gilmore.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yeah.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Pringle.
Yes.
Trustee Stein.
Yes.
Motion passes. Nomination passed. For President Harris, I give you the floor.
You gotta slide. Oh, yeah. Slide. The other one. The other one. Yeah.
Who's this? Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. All right. Good evening, everyone. Just don't worry about my voice. We'll get that together later. First, I want to just thank everybody, thank my trustees, my fellow board members for their full support. I couldn't do this without you all, and you know that we have been a hardworking team, and we will get through all of this together. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Last month in December, I forgot to mention a very important team member in our central office. It was her last moment or her last time as our acting BA. And I just wanted to give the biggest thanks to Miss Lindita Agastra for all her hard work. I just wanted to say real quick, for Ms. Agastra, she took on the role of two. Not only was she our acting BA, but she was also our assistant BA. And she did a lot for us in a short amount of time. And thank you so much for your professionalism and for putting in all the time during that time. Thank you. Very welcome. Okay, at this time, I will now entertain nominations for the Vice President of the Hackensack Board of Education for the calendar year of 2026. Do I have a motion for Vice President?
Madam President, I would like to nominate trustee Kenneth Martin for the position of Vice President.
Okay, so we have a motion for trustee Kenneth Martin. Is there a second?
More than happy to second.
Okay, so we have a second by trustee Stein. Are there any more nominations? Okay, being that there are none at this time, the nominations for Vice President is now closed. Dr. Lewis, can you please do a roll call?
Trustee Austin Balaputra.
Yes.
Trustee Amahamza.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee Gilmore.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Pringle.
Yes.
Trustee Stein.
Aye.
Passes. It has been passed.
Excellent. Congratulations, Vice President Martin.
You're gonna be careful.
Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to move into public comments. Public participation shall be governed by the following rules. Participant must sign the sign-in sheet and be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by an announcement of his or her name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation if applicable. 2, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3-minute duration during the public session. 3, all statements, questions, or inquiries shall be directed to the presiding officer, and any questions or inquiries directed by a participant to another board member shall be redirected to the presiding officer, who shall determine if such statement, question, or inquiry shall be addressed by the presiding officer on behalf of the board or by the individual board member. And 4, all board and/or superintendent responses to questions or inquiries shall be held until the end of public participation. At this time, public comment will be open for anyone on the floor. If anyone here and present would like to speak.
Everyone,
Good evening.
Evening.
Reverend Carolyn Davis. I just want to say congratulations to this board. You are a united team. I love the teamwork. You've taken on a tremendous task. I know there's a lot that you've had to accomplish in a short time. I know it hasn't been easy, but you've stuck together and I support you 100% plus. So continue doing what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Okay, moving on to online. Well, nothing online. Okay. All right, at this time, public comment section is closed. Being that this is a reorganization meeting and there's a lot of families here, we're going to take about a 10 to 15-minute break for light refreshments, pictures, and then we'll be back to the public shortly. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. Thank you all for waiting and sticking around. We are now going to go into our Code of Ethics presentation given by Melissa Del Rosso from New Jersey School Boards Association, and she is our field service representative for Bergen County. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to start by, is this on? This is okay.
Uh,
Okay, I just want to say congratulations to the new board members, newly elected. And thank you to everybody else for the work that you do. I did it for 9 years and I understand it, and it is a tough job, and just know that you appreciate it. So, thank you. Okay, so we're doing ethics tonight. There are a lot of slides here. We're going to go through them as quickly as we can. I don't think everybody here has been on the board already, for at least, right? Okay, so I will try not to bore you on the subject, but it's always good to have a refresher. And you will get a copy of this electronically tomorrow. So you will see a bunch of links within the presentation that you will be able to click on and go further into the different ethics complaints and cases and advisory opinions. We're not going to go through them all now. If we did, we'd be here until tomorrow. And I don't want to do that to you. So anyway, and also I just want to say one more thing. The camaraderie of this board is amazing. And I appreciate that. So that makes my job awesome. That's what I love this job, and that is why. So thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So are we on? Here we go. Hold on. There we go. Okay, the disclaimer is that I am not giving you legal advice. You have a board attorney for that. There will be legal information in this, but I'm not giving you legal advice. Okay, so the School Ethics Act, that's what we're talking about tonight. And mostly board members think of themselves as volunteers, but it's important that you realize that you're also elected officials with great responsibility. And the New Jersey School Ethics Act was created to make sure that you maintain the respect and confidence of the community that you represent. And the goal is to assure that officials hold the respect and confidence of the public. And I'll go a step further to say that the goal is to avoid even the impression that the trust is being violated. Okay. And these are the minimal ethical standards with hopes that you will obviously surpass that. Okay. I went too far. Hang on. Here we go. Who enforces the act? So it's the SEC, but it is the School Ethics Commission for the SEC is the body that's charged with enforcing the act. The commission is made up of 9 members. Of those 9 members, 5 are non-school officials, 2 are school administrators, and 2 are school board members. As you can see from the notes there, it's been many years since there's actually been a school board member representative on the commission. There have been 6 members to the commission for a while now, and only one school administrator. So hopefully with the new governor coming in, because these individuals are appointed, that will be corrected, because that would be helpful. You'll see later on why it's important that there's 9 of them as opposed to just 6. All right. So provisions of the act are for accountability. Understand that the act is meant for board trustees as well as school administrators. Now, board trustees are responsible for everything on these slides. So mandatory training, code of ethics, disclosure statements, and prohibited acts, whereas the administration is only responsible for the disclosure statements and the prohibited acts. You as board members take an oath to follow the code of ethics. And just a note, mandatory training, I don't believe, I've been told, I haven't confirmed this, but I've been told multiple times that board members, school board members are the only ones that are required to have mandatory training as far as elected officials go. And of course, we know you're also the ones that aren't paid. So I just want to make sure that the public knows that, and it is appreciated. So we're going to talk about all those things. And one of them is mandatory training. This is really important that you're aware of this, because this is the time of year where everybody's starting to get their notices that they did not do their training, their mandatory training in time. So it is your responsibility as a board trustee to make sure that you do what you need to do at a bare minimum, the mandatory training. Of course, at school boards, we encourage you to do much more, but at least the mandatory. There have been some changes over the last couple of years where if you are a newly elected board member, you must do your training within the first 90 days for governance 1, if it's your first time on the board, right? And then
everybody else has the year to do their training. But I don't think that applies here. So just make sure that you're on top of it. And then, so the first year you're doing a training each year of your 3-year term. Following that, every time you are reelected for a new term, you will do governance 4 training for your first year. And governance 4 training are legal updates. So that's different every year, which is why it's important. Okay. I won't get into the new school board member. Financial and personal relative disclosure statements. So you will need to fill out your financial disclosure statements. New school officials, you must do it within 30 days of being sworn in. Returning school officials, you will be doing it by April 30th. I am sure that your BA will continue to remind you of such, but it is your responsibility again to make sure it's done. If you ever have any questions, you can certainly speak to your BA. I'm sure that he will be able to help assist you through it. And the other thing is err on the side of disclosing more. Don't err on the side of disclosing less. The other thing is the financial statements, you are disclosing only where your income is coming from, not what the amount is. Let's see here. So here's an example. I won't get too into it, but it is an example where a board member did not disclose all their financial information. They had a company, they didn't declare it. They didn't think they had to. And of course, the commission came back with the fact that they should have known and they were reprimanded. And again, if you click on these links, you will be able to get all the details, all the gory details. It's nice to do if you have nothing else to do and if you are having trouble sleeping, but really, in all honesty, some of them are somewhat interesting. I would love to go around the room. We're going to go through all the code of ethics. We're going to go, and we're going to start with A. Does anybody want to start? Somebody's got to. These are the code of ethic tenets. You could just read, what's up there on the slide.
Wants to go in order?
Yeah, that would be easier. That way we move it along.
I'm gonna do A.
Yes, please.
I will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures. I'm going into the standards too.
Okay. No, you don't need to read the standards. So there's 2 parts to there's a statute and then there's the code. The standards fall under the code. If you were to file an ethics complaint or, that's what you were looking for, you would be looking at the standards for your evidence of why an individual did not follow the ethics statute. The important thing here is to understand that you are an elected official and you are a representative of the state. Okay. You're the boots on the ground for the state. That's really important because once you are elected, a lot of people have made promises after they're coming off of a campaign and it's getting a little wild out there. But you have to understand you represent the entire district the minute you sit at the table. And that's really important. You take off the individual hat and you become a member of a board. And that's how boards function well, which you seem to do. So I don't really think that's an issue. But remember, your power comes from the state, not the community. Most people think, but they're the one that put me in office. It's actually you're working from the state. The state sets they start with the statutes, it works its way down, So you will have mandates from the state. We saw a lot of that during COVID, right? Because there was a time it was difficult to say examples of state mandates that you had to follow. Now there's a lot of them and people are up in arms about it. And there's a lot of pushback on that from boards, but it's important that you understand this is an ethic code that you are swearing to and to uphold. So sometimes sitting on a board will actually bind you a little bit more than if you're not sitting on a board. So that's something to remember. Okay. Who wants to do B?
I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing.
Right. So basically you're going to represent all of the students, not just any individual students. Sometimes this can be difficult for board members who have children in the district, right? Because you get a little bit closer look at a specific area, but I recommend that you remember to take a step back when that's the case. C.
I will confirm my board actions, policy making, planning, and appraisal. And I will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them.
Right, so this is where your power comes in. Your power is the policy making, the planning, and the appraisal. The appraisal being, you're appraising, evaluating your superintendent. That is the one staff member that you evaluate. So that's important for you to remember. You don't evaluate the teachers, you don't hire the teachers, you don't hire the other administrators. That is all upon recommendation of your superintendent. It's important to remember that and stay in the lane, but there is quite a bit of power in the policy planning and appraisal. The idea is always to be looking at a top level to making sure that the district is well run. Okay. There's a piece of this too, when it comes to policy, because obviously the second part of this where it says consulted those who will be affected by them, that is why you have public comment in your meetings. That is where you will hear from the community. That's why you have 2 readings for board policy, so that people have the opportunity to come out and give you their feedback. And it's important to listen to that when before you make your vote, and consider that in making your decisions. D.
Not to administer the school, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are well run.
All right, so this is the New Jersey School Board Association mantra. If I had a shirt, it would be on it. But I don't. So the point here is that you don't run the school. You make sure that the school is well run. That also can get a little bit difficult. And we'll go into some examples, but, and if we get to the case thing, I'll go back to it. But there are times that you always will have to go back to and remember it is the perception, not what you think, but what others may perceive. So there has been numerous examples of individuals who thought they were doing the right thing and really were doing it from the heart, but they crossed the line. And that's difficult because you're a volunteer and it's hard, but you always need to be aware of that to make sure you stay in the lines. And we'll get into some of those examples later. So E. Right. So obviously your power is not individual. It is as a board. And again, it's such a, so great to see the way your reorg meeting went tonight and the relationship that you all have and seem to be cohesive. And I am sure that does not mean that you all agree on everything, which is also really important. The diversity of a board and the diversity of opinion is very important. I encourage you to make sure, and this Jennifer, especially for you, to listen. And I don't think it's an issue, but I always say to board members, pay attention to the person who's not speaking. You want to make sure, a lot of times we hear the squeaky wheel. There's somebody who likes to get a hold of the meeting and go on, but you really need to be aware of the board member who's not speaking up. You'll see that a lot of times with new board members because they're not sure, but make sure you get the voices of everybody because it's the benefit to the district overall to make sure you're doing that and everybody's being heard. Okay, F. Right. So this one, again, gets difficult. It's usually new board members who have been out campaigning. They haven't sat at the table. They're not fully aware of what's going on, but they have an idea that they know better, but they haven't seen behind the curtain. So I also recommend to new board members who have not sat on a board to give yourself some time to watch, listen, and learn, find out who's doing what. Because it's not always as it appears to the public. Obviously, the board has information that can't be shared with the public, and that's really difficult because you get blamed for things, obviously, because the public doesn't understand it. Unfortunately, you still need to stick to the ethics tenets, and that's a tough part of the job. That's where your skin gets super thick. Okay, G.
In all other matters, I will provide accurate information and in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to staff the aspirations of the community.
Right. So obviously we know that anything done in executive session is confidential, should not be shared, shouldn't be shared with your family over dinner. And sometimes that can be difficult, obviously, but there have been violations where board members have discussed it over dinner and somebody else in the family went and put something on social media and then that comes back and it's a complete nightmare. So it's best not to have any discussion. And keep it confidential. The other thing here that's important is it says that you're going to provide accurate information. So be sure when you talk about board business, and you will, hopefully not the confidential kind, but you will, and that's fine. But when you, because people will ask you, when you talk about board business, make sure you're giving an accurate interpretation of what happened and not your personal opinion, because you may disagree with something, but you're going to go along with the majority because that's your role as a board and you are one. So just keep that in mind when you're presenting something. Just say, well, yeah, I mean, they're going to know if they want to do their homework, they're going to know if you voted no, and that's okay. But you must stand and support the party line, right? Once the board makes a decision, that's it. Okay, H. Right. So all of your approvals will come at the recommendation of the superintendent. So that is where, if the superintendent doesn't recommend it, then it is not for you to push. So that's something to remember. And also, I'm not going to get into it here, but I'm just going to mention this because this is a big one. We're going to get into some of the conflicts with family members, and the charts are insane, right? There's your second cousin 5 times removed or whatever. So just pay attention to it. And if you're not sure, go to your board attorney. That's the place to go to get an answer. Just to be on the safe side. Oh, again, it is your responsibility to disclose if there's a possible conflict.
I will support and protect school personnel in proper performance of their duties.
Right. This is a big one with social media these days, where board members may not like the way individuals do it. We see a lot of it with librarians these days under attack. And yeah, that's not the way to do it. As a board member, you need to support your staff and administration. You may not agree with everything, but you need to still support them. Jay. Sure.
I will refer all complaints to the chief administrative officer and will act on the complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution.
Right. So this is a big one, especially again, if you have children in the district, you will have, everybody knows you're a board member. Everybody, you have a sign, there's a neon sign over your head, you're wearing the sash, you're wearing the crown. Everybody knows. You think they don't, no matter how hard you try to be incognito, they know, and they look at you that way, including the staff, which is really important. And that one took me a while to learn. I was in a small district and I was the PTO president and all the other things. And you think, oh no, they know what I'm coming from. I know how to separate it. They don't. So you always have to realize, again, we're going to go to that word perception 1,000 times. You're going to be saying it in your sleep tonight. It is the perception. And when you come into a district, that is how you are seen. Doesn't mean you can't go into the district, but it's really important that you understand that piece. Let's see. Yeah. So, and with this one, we're talking, yeah, and it's chain of command. You don't want to undermine your administration or your staff. So anything that if somebody comes up to you with a complaint or a problem or whatever, your answer is go to the teacher, the principal, whatever the appropriate level is that they are at, that is not your responsibility. And there's a couple of reasons for that, especially when it's a friend. You may feel like, hey, I just want to help them out. You can't. That is not your role. You don't run the school. It may come to the board table, depending on what the issue is. And if you get involved earlier, you will be conflicted at the board table. So don't get involved and do your role where it's necessary. And I will bet that 99% of it will not come to the board table. And it will be worked out in the manner that it's supposed to be worked out. That's how the system's set up. So just be really careful. That being said, don't be afraid to listen. If people have things to say, don't be afraid to listen. I'd say 80% of your role should be listening, and a little less of the talking. And then when you find something out, depending on what your board norms are, and I'm not familiar with them, so I'm going to apologize, but I would recommend that you contact both your board president and your superintendent and give them a heads up what you've heard. No surprises for the board, no surprises for the superintendent. It may never get to them and it's maybe a moot point, but do it anyway so that they're prepared if they get a call from somebody about a problem. Oh, and don't ask them the follow-up question. So what did you do? Don't do that. All right, ethics complaint. Here we go. By the way, we're done. You don't have to read anymore. It's all me. Ethics complaints. This is the breakdown of it on how you do it. Hopefully you never have to do it. Anybody can file an ethics complaint. It could be a board member. It could be a community member. It could be somebody outside the community. Any of those things. Anybody can file an ethics complaint, unfortunately. So just be aware of that. Penalties and sanctions, the SEC recommends to the commissioner and the commissioner makes the final decision. So this is the order of the penalties. So the first one's a reprimand, which is basically a slap on the wrist, a censure, which will be read formally at a board meeting, and in the records, in your meeting minutes. Suspension for a period of time is the next level, and then obviously removal. What I will tell you is there has been a lot of attention paid to your mandatory training and your financial disclosures. That's a really big deal. And they are starting with censures on that. So it will be publicized if you don't meet your mandatory training and if you don't do your disclosure. Okay. Advice of counsel to feds for penalties. So what this is basically saying is if you're not sure of what you're doing, or if you're not sure if something's a conflict or any of that, you're going to ask to speak to your board attorney or run it by your board attorney. Your board attorney has the final say. You may go from there to, and we'll talk about this after, to ask for an opinion from the SEC. But at this point, your attorney is the person that you would go to. And if you have any questions, you can always come to me, but I'm going to tell you at the end, I'll give you a whole spiel and then I'll say, but please check with your board attorney, because obviously I don't give legal advice. The point of this is when your attorney tells you what to do and you don't do that, you are no longer protected. And that's really important. So just be aware of that. You know, if you seek advice, make sure you follow it. All right. So here's some examples. And again, in an effort to not keep you here all night, I'm not going to go into too many of these. I will touch on a few, and you will be able to click on the links or just read the summaries and get more details. So one of the examples, and this is what I mean by good intentions. Let's see. Yeah, the first one is not good intentions. The second one, board member sent an email about attending the CPAG meeting, which is a special education parent group. And they were involved in the CPAG, and they were also a committee member of the special ed committee within the board as a board member. When you go down that road, avoid that. If you're active in a specific area within the school, which you are entitled to do, especially, I mean, this particular individual, I believe, had a child in the special education program and felt that she could help and everything else, which is great. Don't mix them up. Don't think that, well, I know so much, I will be such a benefit. It jades you, and it's not a smart move. And that's the example here where this board member definitely crossed the line, and you could read more details on it. And again, it was a well-meaning board member as far as I could read in the things. I don't know them. So here's some more. Some of these are actually comical and a little embarrassing. Let's see, this one, the action of women already served. Oh, this was terrible. The C-7823, this is the one where a board member was friends with the staff member, and there was an issue that was going to be brought up in executive session. The board member spoke to the staff member about it because they were friends. The staff member could not make the meeting, so they wanted their side told. So the board member went and picked up a letter prior to the meeting, brought it to the board meeting, asked the BA to make copies of it and to disperse it to all of the board members except for the superintendent. So when the meeting began and they had the conversation, it obviously went a little awry and it was a big problem. And so obviously that's not the protocol, and that one was a recommendation of suspension for 60 days, which I consider to be pretty minor considering how egregious that was. There's an example. Okay, recusal versus abstention. This is important. Most people confuse the two and think you can do them interchangeably. They're not interchangeable. So recusing is because you cannot vote on something and you cannot be involved in something, whether it's legally or you're conflicted. For example, you have a student, you have a child that happens to be on the agenda. You would recuse yourself from that. You also need to be really careful that you recuse yourself from the conversation, not just the vote. Okay. And then there's going to be situations, obviously, where you're conflicted if you have family members in the district and stuff like that. If you're not sure, again, check with your board attorney. Now, abstention is different. Abstention is you just choosing not to vote. You may choose, and it might be completely fair. You can't vote because you don't know the information. For example, if you missed the last meeting and it comes time to approve the minutes, can't approve the minutes because you weren't here. So how can you approve the minutes? So you would abstain from that, and that's fair. I also encourage board members, if you're going to abstain for a reason, don't be afraid to say why, because everybody wants to know. And, if you have a good reason, you should say it. So just put that one out there. Okay, relationship definitions. Everybody's related somehow, some way. I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to encourage you, and I will, if I remember, send you a copy of that A1123 chart that referred there, but you can always click on it. It literally lists just about everything you can think of. It's really important because the board attorney and your BA and your superintendent may not know how you are related to individuals. It is your responsibility to make sure to ask if you're not sure. Even if you think it's a reach, ask the question, because dialing it back after is extremely difficult. Advisory opinions. So now we're going to talk about advisory opinions. Advisory opinions are different than ethic complaints because they can only be requested by board members. They need to be in reference to a specific situation for you as an individual board member. Okay, you can't ask about somebody else, and you can't ask about theoretical situations. And this goes to what I mentioned earlier, that the board currently exists with 6 members, and they have to have 6 members in order to do an advisory opinion. So think about, they meet like maybe once a month, if that, and then who knows if everybody shows up. And if they don't all show up, they can't do an advisory opinion. So this takes forever. And that's one of the reasons you're going to see so many things listed in here, and they all came out the week before the holidays. So I'm not up to speed on every one of them, and every year there's a new batch that comes out, but they're easy for you to go into and read. Advisory opinions, you can Google it. It is awesome because you're looking at a question. It's a little bit easier than looking at an ethics complaint. The other thing is, because they are so stretched with so few members, they also require that you review all the opinions before you send one in, because they do not take kindly when it is a duplicate. And if you ever have any questions on that, you can ask me. I can help search it. It's not that difficult at all. All right, advisory opinion. Advisory opinion is an opinion as to whether any proposed activity or conduct would, in the school ethics commission's opinion, constitute a violation of the provisions of the school. All right, so here's the thing. If you do this and you get an opinion, that opinion stands. It's the same thing as asking your board attorney. Don't decide, well, I don't really agree with that. It didn't go the way I wanted, so I'm going to do something different, because then you will be open to an ethics violation. And in all honesty, nobody may call you out on it, but you should do what you're told. That's why you have the little police officer there. Every year this comes up on the slides, and it is pertinent that we do not take that little policeman off. All right, so here's what the advisory opinions released in 2025 look like. And you could see they're easy to go through and find out if it's something that you'd be interested or in. It's also easier for you to Google these and find out where, if there is something that exists already. I'm not going to go through all these, but if anything seems interesting, you will have these links and you can go through all of them. Benefits. All right. So the ethics regulation definition of a benefit was a direct or indirect advantage, profit, privilege, or gain, whether personal, financial, or otherwise. A lot of people believe that benefits are strictly financial, and they're not. And we're going to go a step further and let you know that it's not just the benefit that you think is a benefit, but it is a benefit perceived by a rational public member. So sometimes, again, that's where the good intentions get muddy, because you think you're doing the right thing, but you're not necessarily looking at all the facts. Again, perception of the public. Let's see, where's the board meeting about? Oh, this was a good one. A board member spoke during the board meeting because he was running for General Assembly. He spoke only during the board business portion to the public that was attending, and didn't think anything of saying, hey, I'm running, you see what a great job I do here. Please go out and vote for me. And again, I will go with the fact that they thought that was just an innocent little thing to just mention because they're proud of their volunteer work and what they do. But obviously that was a violation. And again, all the details will be in there. Prohibited acts. This will go through the list where I told you where you would recuse yourself. And then, you could take a look at it when you have a chance. Again, I will say, if you're not sure, it's always better to err on the side of being careful. There's a scenario that was an administrator, I believe it was a superintendent, who she recommended to the board to approve a list of substitute teachers. And the list was about 200 long or something like that. She put it through, she had the list, she put it through, didn't realize her son was on the list, didn't go through it line by line. That was a violation, right? Because it was for the personal gain of a family member. So it's things like that. And another example would be there was a board member who was brought up on an ethics complaint. The attorney hired by the board to represent them was on the bill list. And it was a huge bill list. It goes into all those details. So it was a really big bill list and the board member missed it. But at the end of the day, it was the board member's job to recuse themselves from that. And they didn't. It was a violation. So you have to know what you're voting on is the key. I'm going to skip this because I think I covered these. Board member others. That's a coaching one. Yeah. There's a lot of these. Okay, hiring personnel if the relative already works in the district. So if you just joined the board and prior to joining the board, you have a relative in the district, that is fine, but you are conflicted, which means anybody related to in the chain of command of that individual, you can't vote on. You need to recuse yourself from any discussion, any voting. So of course, that's also going to be negotiations and all those kind of things. Okay, really important. If you are on the board, you cannot hire a family member. So keep that in mind as well. I recently had this conversation doing, there was a superintendent search. And I think the month before I had gone through this board roles and responsibilities, including conflicts. And board member sitting at the table, new board member was completely shocked that because they had a spouse that was in a coaching position, made them unable to participate in the superintendent search. And I fully understand the concern about that because here's a stipend position. It's not part of the union negotiations. They're not in the district all the time, but unfortunately, it still falls in that category. They are a paid member of the district. So again, I'm giving the example not because what they did was so unusual. And again, it was a new board member. It's just that there's sometimes things you don't realize. So just be aware of that. And it's disappointing. And I hate to be the one to have to tell them. So what else? And again, if you have a family member, you go all the way up the chain. So you will not be involved in the superintendent evaluation because that's the top of the chain. Okay. Committee assignments. Make sure your president knows when you're being appointed to committees, if you have any kind of conflict so that you're not in that situation. It's really important. Again, I'll go back to the example I gave you before, where it was a board member who was very involved in the CPAG program or group, and yet they were on the special ed committee, which is just not, it's just not a good place to be. It's very difficult for that committee member, I'm sure, to separate them. So that's just something to consider. This is your collective bargaining chart. Hold on to it. It's going to explain to you if you can be involved in negotiations. And the way you do it is if you look at the first line, it's a relationship to a board member. If it's your immediate family member or relative, do they work in the district? Yes. Are they a current member of a statewide public teachers union? No, they're not. So you might assume, okay, well, that allows me to then be involved in negotiations because they're not part of the association. However, that would be incorrect. So you cannot participate in negotiations and you cannot vote to ratify the contract. The idea behind that is in most districts, whatever the increase negotiated is drives a lot of the other increases and compensation within the district. So that's the rationale. Campaigns and collective bargaining. When you come to the table, you need to walk away from your campaign. And sometimes that's getting really, really complicated these days. So I will go to where I remind you that you represent not the individuals that voted for you, but the entire community and all the students within the district. And that's sometimes hard for people to adjust to. So be aware of that. Also, endorsement of a candidate by a local or national statewide union doesn't create a per se future conflict. So this one is where sometimes the teachers associations unions will get involved and they will endorse a candidate. Unfortunately, that gets complicated, and sometimes they will also give a financial gift to that candidate or donation in order to help them with their campaign. If that's the case, it tends to be you cannot be on negotiations for a year if you received a financial donation from the association, and if not, and they just endorsed you, you may be eligible. What I recommend is that you speak with your board attorney. And again, just a heads up, just because you are eligible doesn't mean it's necessarily the right thing to do. So that's something else to also think about. Sometimes you have to because everybody else is conflicted. So, okay, volunteering in the school. This is another fun one. This is where a lot of people get into trouble, and this is another example of doing a good deed. And obviously, board members are usually very enthusiastic about the school, very supportive, and want to be involved. I'll give an example of a situation where a board member, a superintendent, reached out to me because a board member was participating with the PTO. She had a grandchild in the school, I believe it was, or a child, whatever the case may be. She was involved volunteering with the PTO. They were setting up for back to school night. They were setting up the PTO table for back to school night, and the board member said, "Oh, there's a table. We need more room. Let me take that table." To which the principal said, "Nope. That's the Girl Scout table, so you can't use that. That is your table for the PTO." To which the board member jokingly replied, "Oh, well, I guess we better put that in the budget next year for an extra table." Again, I'm sure it was offhand as it meant as a joke. And the superintendent was a newer superintendent and said to me about, how do I handle this? And I said, well, you just have to let them know that's an ethics violation. You don't want to go down that road. And again, it makes the staff uncomfortable. Even if you're friends with them, it makes them uncomfortable. And I said, people think you're in there and I'm not wearing anything that's I'm there as for my child. But the reality is you are always looked at as a board member. So when you throw something like that in there, like don't say to a teacher when you're in school and say, "Hey, what did you think about the curriculum we just approved? Do you like it? How's it going for you?" That's overstepping and it's uncomfortable. Again, you'll get those reports from your superintendent if you have questions on those things. That's where you get your information. The other thing I'm going to say, and I think we have another slide, in which case I'll skip it when we get to it. Don't confuse volunteering and being involved in the school when you have children. Don't think that you cannot advocate for your children. The one role that definitely surpasses the role that you're sitting at this board table is you are your child's advocate through anything. That is way more important than your role as a board member. You must advocate for your child. Just don't do it in a way that you're referring to your role as a board member. You have to be careful. And the other thing I would recommend, if you're having any issues, have a conversation with your superintendent and let them know. Now, I'm going to preface this. I'm not telling you to do that because you're looking for your superintendent to step in and help. I'm telling you because you want your superintendent to have no surprises. You don't want that teacher to feel overwhelmed, or you don't want the teacher to go and say, "Hey, they really pushed me." They'll have your side before that happens. And again, the superintendent's going to know you and they're going to know that teacher and they're going to know who's, stretching the truth, or maybe it was just received wrong. Again, perception, especially when it's upsetting with something with your child or whatever. So just keep those things in mind. It does not stop you from standing up for your child. There you go, visiting the school. Advise the superintendent you'll be in the school as a parent or a volunteer. Always make the call. I guarantee you that superintendent will find out within 5 minutes of you walking in that school. So don't surprise them. This way they know what you're there for. And again, not that you can't be, and you usually should be entering the school when you're invited. And sometimes as a parent, that's a case, like or you're just going to an event. All encouraged, all great, but let the superintendent know so there's no surprises and they know why you were there. Again, refrain from any related board discussion or vote and stay on point with the purpose of the visit. I just want to say on that one too, we talked about this earlier. Make sure when you're talking, because you will talk to people there and they're going to ask you things about board business, and you are, as a board member, dual rolled, right? You're a representative to the public and you're also an advocate for the school. So make sure what you refer to is positive. And I'm not saying lie, because obviously one of the tenets of the ethics thing is to be accurate and truthful. But I am saying the way you say something can obviously be changed. Our scores are down, but we're working diligently. We are reviewing them. We are breaking it down. We are looking at it. If somebody asks you about, don't say, "Oh no, the school, they're great. They're great," when it's not true. And I'm not saying it's here. I'm just making it as an example. So please don't take it personal. But that's an example of you can twist, or I don't want to say twist, but I want to say just present it in a more positive manner, because that is your role. You don't want to make the school look bad. That's not your role. That's not the goal of what you're doing. All right. Social media, always a fun one. All right. Okay. I'm plowing through these, so we're good. Social media is a tough one, and it continues to be a tough one. It's probably one of the biggest issues that we hear about from the public or from other board members and that kind of stuff. It's recommended that you do not use social media. But what I will tell you is if you have a candidate account, a separate page for running, which everybody does, and that's fine, it's time to take it down. Once you are back on the board, you need to take it down. And the reason you need to take it down is when people look at social media, they don't pay attention that that was a post from 2 years ago that just all of a sudden got recirculated. They're not looking at that. And they're looking at it as you are now an active member of the board, and that is your opinion, or you're stating something that you may have stated incorrectly because you weren't a board member and weren't aware of all the facts. So I highly recommend that you take it down. Now, we get a lot of pushback. We have freedom of speech. We should be able to say what we think, and you can. And we'll get to, I think it's the next slide, where we're going to say, there's the disclaimer to use, and just stay out of it. There was a time that boards were recommended not to be involved in Facebook mom groups, right? That's the big thing, right? The Facebook mom group or the town group, et cetera. It's not really necessary not to be part of it because, in my opinion, it is a great resource to know what people are thinking. And people have a lot to say when they're anonymous, because there's so many anonymous people out there right now with a lot to say. I caution you, if you're an individual that it drives you crazy because the information is incorrect, don't do it. Don't look at it. It will drive you crazy. And don't feel the need, this is where you will get yourself into trouble, to correct it or to put the truth out there. I won't go into how you can handle it, but the bottom line is, there's so many times I remember where is school going to be closed? It looks like it's snowing. Is it going to be closed? Is it going to be closed? Who knows what's happening? And then people will get on there. No, it's not going to be closed because they never like to close the school and they won't do it. It's too late and blah, blah, blah. And the school's going to close because you were just notified. And it's like, you want to say something, but don't do it. Somebody will. Eventually, somebody will get it out there. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but somebody else can do the job. Okay. Social media disclaimer. Again, this will be in your package. This is the disclaimer recommended to use. Most important thing, this is not a get out of jail free card. Don't put this up there and then go off on a tangent about confidential information. Say, but I posted this and it's only my opinion. Well, it's my opinion because it's what I heard here and I went ahead and that's my opinion and I didn't agree with the rest of the board. But it's my personal opinion. So you do have freedom of speech, and that is a big thing we're seeing right now with new board members that are up in arms, that they're feeling that they're handcuffed. Again, the reason for this is you represent the district. It's not meant to keep you quiet. And when you ever get to a point, my recommendation as a board member, that you feel so strongly that you disagree with the board, it's time to step down. And then you have power on the other side and you're not handcuffed. And I say that truly because board members get burned out and it's hard and I get it. But I encourage you not to go there. I encourage you to take a breath. And it will get better. But sometimes you go down that road and it's difficult. It's a really tough job. So there you go. All right, these are social media cases. I think I told you the one where they had to talk at dinner and one of the family members went out and posted it on the page. Another example would be board members posting about teachers that they think that's the library one, right? Don't like what the books are in the library and stuff like that's a violation. You have to support the district. Even if they're getting books that they shouldn't be getting, or that's a problem for your administration. That is not your role. You're not for you to get involved. You don't approve the library books. It's not your job. You do approve the textbooks, but don't put it on social media. All right. Texting from the board table could result in someone filing an OPA request for your phone records. More importantly, again, it's the golden rule. If you just know how to behave and remember, you have an audience of community members with their own perception. And they're coming in and maybe their perception isn't even right. Maybe they're just overwhelmed with something that's unfortunate that they're not happy about. And they're going to take it out on you. And you know that because you've been doing this job. But don't start texting at the table back and forth. Phones shouldn't even be out. Okay. Phones should not be on the table if you have a child or a family member. And I say this just because it's really important. But if you have somebody, I mean, I did it. My daughter was in kindergarten and she'd be able to babysit her. So I kept my phone out so I could see if there was an emergency. And if there is an emergency or there is a text or a work call, because let's face it, we have to make a living because we don't get paid doing this job, right? So if it's something along those lines, feel free to take your phone, excuse yourself, ask permission to excuse yourself, and go out and take the call if it's urgent. Don't do it just because it's your buddy calling you or any of that kind of stuff. But obviously, if it's important, you have a life. Just if you're texting over here and somebody's texting over there, or even just looking at your phone, the community's looking and saying, oh, they're going back and forth right now about what's happening. They're colluding. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And you're probably not anyway. So don't do it. And it's just being respectful. If you stick to the golden rule, you're respectful, you're probably fine. Again, I talked about your child advocate. That's an example. Refrain from using your campaign social media. We covered that. And yeah, social media. It's the downfall. Okay, here's a bunch of resources that you will be able to also click on when I send that to you tomorrow. And that wraps it up. So I hope you found it helpful and a little valuable. And again, I just want to close and say, really, I do appreciate everything that you do. And thank you for doing it. And that's why I love my job. So hopefully I'll come back in and do some more training with you. And it'll be maybe a little bit more interesting subject. Ethics is always tough, a little dry. And then we can have a lot more dialogue. But if you have any questions, please, this tends to not have I don't like to lecture. I very much prefer to have conversation when working with boards. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you, Melissa, for the presentation. So if board members can just quickly take a look at your packet, we all received the acknowledgement of that we've received the code of ethics. If everyone can just sign it and print and sign. Today's date is the 7th. And I will pass it down so that we can pass it on to Dr. Lewis. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. We are moving on to our resolutions, which is on page 4. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for items 1 through 5?
I'll offer.
Okay, we have a motion from trustee Armahemsa. Can I have a second? Second by trustee Stein. Is Dr. Lewis here?
Beat up.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Nonamaker, can you please do a roll call?
Sure.
Wait.
Sure.
Okay, so we just have a motion from trustee Armahemsa and a second by trustee Stein. Oh, he's coming.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, Dr. Lewis. Just so you know, we have a motion from trustee Amrahemsa and a second by trustee Stein for the consent agenda items 1 through 5. Dr. Lewis, can you please do a roll call?
Yes. Trustee Houston Balapucci.
Yes.
Trustee Almohanza.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee Gilmore.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Pringle.
Yes.
Trustee Stein.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to board comments. And I guess I'll start to my right. Trustee Jones, go ahead.
And this is comments pertaining to the night in general, right? Reorganization. I'd just like to congratulate everybody that ran and got on, and I'd like to congratulate Jen and Kenny on their roles as president and vice president. It's just it feels very good to be part of a team that's cohesive like this. So I know we have a lot of work to get done. And but I thank you all for welcoming me when I first came on, and now that I'm on, I really appreciate everybody's help and everybody's guidance, and just kind of the teamwork and the camaraderie. It's a nice thing to be a part of. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, trustee Carroll.
Yeah, I just want to thank the residents of Hackensack for having faith and confidence in myself, Melanie and Mike. Congratulations to our president, Jen, Vice President, Mr. Martin. And piggyback a little bit off what Mike said about cohesiveness. I've been on the board going on 4 years now, and this board is the most together group since I've been here, and I look forward in serving this community and the district. I'd like to say thank you to Medita. I think she left, right? She stepped out. Okay, but for all her hard work, she really has done a lot, tedious work, hours she put in. And thank you, Melissa. I think she left already, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank Melissa for her presentation also with the ethics refresher. Couple of things that came back to me, so it was good to have. And again, I look forward to serving the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Stein.
This is my 11th year serving on this board, not consecutive, but 11th year. And you're so right, Demetrius. This is one of the first times in my 11 years that we have had a board that is going in the same direction. And it works out to be the best for everyone involved in our district. Teachers, staff, custodial staff, our acting superintendent, our new BA. This helps them know that whatever is being discussed is going in the right direction. And it takes a team, as we heard in the ethics, to drive the engine. And it's so satisfying, again, for me. I served 9 years, now I'm into my second year or 11 years on the board, to finally see a board that is truly, truly working in the direction for our children. And only success can come from that, rather than the bickering that used to take place and the self-gratification and the fact that there were people on the board that were looking for other things from being an elected official. I want to thank all of you. This is gratifying to me as the senior citizen on the board, to know that each and every one of you is working in the right direction. Melissa did a wonderful job with her presentation tonight. And I wish you all, and including myself, that we have a successful year and that we will all move in the right direction at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Armanza.
Thank you so much. And really just reiterating, what has already been said. First of all, congratulations to our newly sworn in board members, trustees, Alston Balaputra, trustee Carroll, trustee Jones, and everyone else on the dais. It's just such a pleasure to work together. As trustee Stein said, it's really nice to be a part of this team, and everybody's voice is really important. And we obviously, have a lot of work to do. And so just really proud to sit alongside everyone here. Also a huge congratulations, Madam President, on your reelection, and Vice President Martin, congratulations. And also thank you so very much, Trustee Stein, for all of your service as our former Vice President. And as you mentioned, all of your distinguished service as a public servant. We really are very fortunate to have you on the board, to learn from you. And again, thank you, everyone, and Happy New Year to our students, to our staff, to your families. Wishing everyone a lot of success this year.
Thank you. Trustee Pringle.
ditto to what Mike, Demetrius, and Layla said. I don't want to be too repetitive, but I do want to again congratulate Trustee Austin Baraputra, Trustee Jones, and Trustee Carroll. Congratulations on your second term as president. President Harris. And congratulations to Vice President Kenny Martin. And I agree with everyone. This is an amazing team. We work well together, guys. We get things done. And I'm looking forward for the rest of the school year and what it has in store for us. And Happy New Year to everyone. And let's get this ball going. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Trustee Gilmore.
Good evening. First, Happy New Year, everyone. And again, I just want to congratulate our newly elected board members, Trustee Austin Balaputra, Trustee Jones, and Trustee Carroll. Congratulations on your landslide election. And also congratulations to Madam President and Vice President Martin. Congratulations. I know you two will lead us in the right direction. And I just also want to thank Lindita for all of your hard work. It is truly appreciated. And thank you, Trustee Stein, for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Austin Balaputra.
Good evening, everyone. I'll skip some of mine too, because in the interest of time. But congratulations to our new board president and board vice president. Thank you to Trustee Stein for all your leadership and guidance, not just now, but you've been a part of my village for a minute. So I want to give a shout out and thank you to Judge Jones, who stepped in for my swearing in, but also a heartfelt appreciation to Judge Karen Gwynn. We kind of gave her the wrong direction. She was somewhere in the history department. Because the left and the right had her go across but I appreciate her so much for coming and being a part of this for me to swear me in. Shout out to my son, James Balaputra, and his teacher. But for those who don't know, James is autistic, and to prepare for tasks, his teacher had to practice with him in the Bible to prepare him to stand here to do that. So I'm especially grateful to them. And to my fellow board members, I want to say happy School Board Member Month. We get a month in January. I'm excited about that. And thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Vice President Martin.
Okay, first, I want to congratulate our new board members. I'm sure you're going to do an excellent job, which you have done thus far. And it's a pleasure working with you and looking forward working with you in the future. I want to also thank Melissa for a wonderful presentation. The information you gave us, we will use it and think about it as we go along in our throughout this year. I also is very happy and I do want to thank this board for appointing me as your vice president. I won't let you down. I'll work very closely with our president, whatever she needs and whatever she asks of me, I will do. I will be there for her, support her in her absence. So she has my numbers. She calls me and I will be there for you. Also, I want to thank our students, our chorus, for coming, as they always do, and reminding us and singing with us and leading us in the automata. It's always good to hear that, and that spirit, that school spirit. As you can see, as we wear our blue and gold, we look at that very proudly of our school district and our colors as well as our automata. So again, thank you for coming, and that's it for me. Just have a happy New Year's, and we are ready to work now.
All right. All right. Thank you. Again, Happy New Year to everyone. not a new year for the school year, but it's definitely a new year, still a year to celebrate. And thank you for Trustee Alston Balapucha for bringing up, it is definitely School Board Member Month. I guess we'll recognize it at our next board meeting. Again, thank you to the High School Chorus with Miss Plotty, and the alma mater is always so beautiful to start off the new year. They do a wonderful job. They sounded incredible. Again, thank you, Miss Lindita Gastra, for your hard work, service during this time as our acting BA. Once again, welcome back, Trustee Carroll, Trustee Alston Balaputra, Trustee Jones, and Trustee Stein. Again, thank you so much for your service, your leadership, your knowledge. We all learn something from you every time you're here. Thank you. Even if it was 11 years ago. It's still relevant till today. And congratulations to Vice President Martin. I have a new neighbor here, and I know that we're going to do great work. And thank you to Melissa, our New Jersey School Board's rep. She will definitely, this will not be the last time we see her. We will see her again during our board retreats, which we'll have at least about 2 or 3 this year. The work that we do is not an easy job. It is definitely, like she said, it's hard. It's about picking, choosing your battles, figuring out what is appropriate, what is not appropriate. And we always try to be seen. This is one of our commitments as a board. We've always tried to make a point. If one can't make it, we call and say, hey, can you be there for me or have some type of representation? And I appreciate everyone here on this board for always being flexible and always showing up for our school events, for our students, and the community. So at this time, before we go into executive session, I do have an important statement to read. So if everyone could just bear with me and just pay attention to this important statement. And I will try my best to read as slow as possible so our interpreter can translate. Okay. When the leadership of the board changed in January of 2025, there were concerns about the district's financial status, and we took steps to assess the district's financial and administrative health. One of those steps was to appoint a new auditor firm. These steps were taken in addition to repeated questions and inquiries posed by current board members who served on the board prior to January of 2025 to the former board leadership. However, those inquiries were unanswered and the board was kept in the dark with no answers to our financial questions. In the summer, we started to receive accurate and complete information by central office staff. Once we had access to information, and with the cooperation of central office, we directed district administration to conduct an internal review and to work with our newly appointed independent auditor. This work included not only a comprehensive audit of the district's finances for the 24-25 school year, as required by New Jersey law, but also an analysis of the 25-26 school year. That audit process began this fall. Now that the 24-25 audit is complete, it has been found by our auditor firm that as a result of actions by the prior board leadership, led by former board president Scott James Vickery, the district is now facing an estimated $13 million budget shortfall for the current 25-26 school year. This news is deeply troubling and disappointing. We understand the concern and uncertainty this creates for our students, staff, families, and the broader community. As our independent auditor will confirm, this problem was not created overnight, meaning in the current budget year. Rather, it is a culmination of improper budgeting practices over the past several years. Addressing this projected shortfall will require difficult decisions, including reductions in expenses that will impact resources and staffing. Please know that this board does not take these decisions lightly. As part of the process to address and remedy the shortfall, we will continue our work. Bless you. We will continue our work with the county superintendent, our independent auditor, legal counsel, and our staff associations. While we are legally limited in discussing personnel and confidential matters publicly, we are committed to ensuring that the community has the opportunity to fully understand the audit findings. We want to thank the community and staff for their patience throughout this process, as the board has had to wait for our audit to be finalized to ensure accurate information is provided to the community. The board will be meeting on January 14th to discuss next steps in the executive session. No public action will be taken at that meeting. On January 21st, we will have a public meeting where the auditors will publicly present their report to the board and answer the board's questions. Public action will be taken to begin the required corrective action process. Our focus remains on accountability, openness, and working diligently to stabilize the district while prioritizing the educational needs of our students. We will continue to keep the community informed as next steps are identified. This concludes my statement. We know this news is devastating. Again, we encourage you to attend our public meeting on January 21st and hear the presentation from our auditor firm. Thank you all. I hope you get home safe. At this time, we're going to move into executive session. Be it resolved that the Hackensack Board of Education determines it necessary to meet in executive session on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, to discuss legal, personnel, student-related matters, HIB reports, negotiations, and other confidential matters. And be it further resolved that these matters will be made public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Can I have a motion to go into executive? Motion by trustee Carroll. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Jones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So that the public is aware, no public action will be taken after executive session. The meeting will be closed after executive session. Thank you all. It is 8:05 p.m. Have a good night. Thank you.